last year, when we were all together here, we talked a lot about the problem. And you'll hear more about that during the course of the day today, because we need to keep talking about the problem. But we also need to shift now to solutions. And Project Liberty is shifting, or hoping to shift, all of us together, to a solution so that we're not hostage to or victims of the current tech architecture and social media and so on and so forth. It's a big job. It's a big project. It's going to take each and every one of us, and I mean that literally. So just a little primer on Project Liberty for those of you that are hearing about it for the first time. 3 tracks: a tech track, a governance track, and a movement track. It's not a tech project. It's a project about democracy. It's about fixing technology to save democracy. So yes, it has a tech track. It's a very important track. It's a big idea that Braxton, Harry, and the team came up with. It's actually a brilliant idea, right? To change how the social graph works, give you all ownership and control of your data, give you agency, and let you decide how that data is used. So that's a really, really important track. But tech is just a tool. There's no big guarantee that because we're moving from 2.0 to 3 that it's all going to be better just because. It could be worse if we don't have governance. Web3 governance really have the guidelines, the standards, the goals, the values, the principles. What are we optimizing for in Web3? The question that was skipped last time around, right? When it was just like, move fast and break things. In retrospect, that's pretty dangerous thinking. So knowing what we know now, let's get it right this time. And that means integrating the social scientists and all the smart people in the world who actually have the solutions. We just need to get everybody to the same table and actually integrate these solutions with the design, with making the technology. And the third track, which to me is foremost on my mind right now, and that's the movement track. Because my hunch is that we could get the tech just right, all of us. We could get the governance just right. If we don't get people to understand what's at stake here and to get engaged with this, I don't know how we change and how we actually can compete against these huge companies. They're the biggest companies ever created, the richest companies ever, the most powerful companies ever. And they are media platforms that can actually say things to all of us and get us to believe them. So we are up against giants. So the movement piece of this to me is super critical. We need to get everyone involved. Everyone has a role here and a job to get people involved and to understand what is at stake for them, for their families, for their children, for our democracy, and so forth. Stakes couldn't be higher. So 3 tracks: tech, governance, movement, working together. And by the way, I would suggest that together in Project Liberty, we need to create a use case, one that optimizes for society. Maybe it's an alternative to Twitter. That's a true public square. The art you see behind me is imagery. It's a public square, right? You see that big cube? And the meeting place beneath it? That's called a public square. So think of that imagery. Why can't we create that new public square that optimizes for truth, trust, democracy, people, society? I think we can, but we're gonna have to walk before we run to get there. And we need the people involved now in this project to help us get there, because I certainly don't have all the answers. The last thing I want to say is that there's proof now that this is happening. This isn't just, you know, a theoretical thing or a conceptual idea or some lab experiment. This is happening. So we think about the tech track, Braxton, DSMP, out in the world, right? Jeffrey, who's the CEO of MeWe, 20 million plus users, migrating now to DSMP. Big news. That's a big thing. You're taking a risk, you're believing in a project, you're looking at the future and you're making it happen. Congratulations. It's awesome, right? Proof points. Okay? We think of governance, right? Maria, the Dean of the Public Policy School at Georgetown, a founding member of the Institute, right? Along with Sciences Po. A lot of you students here from one of the other institutions, really grappling with these difficult questions. Francis, you know, you're doing it, right? Part of what this is, this collective effort. None of us can do it by ourselves. It's just the reality. But together we can. Proof points, right? Angela, and you know, all you kids, Alex, the kids, the movement makers, right? Angela has 50 or so, really fantastic organizations pulled together, right? Leading them to understand the connection between technology and their work, and technology and democracy. And what you all are doing as the future, as students, understanding, as I'm sure you do, because I sat with you yesterday and I was totally convinced that we're going to win this. Because you're on it, and you're not just on the movement, or just on the tech, or just on the government. You're into all of it. You see it's all connected, and we can't solve our way out of this without those connections, right? And broadening this very, very quickly. I love the conversation I had with you about taking it back to London and your college and this is what, you don't need my permission to do it. Just do it. Do it. And don't trust me. Inquire, poke at it, ask questions, make it better, be involved. All right, that's what an open source piece of software is. Be engaged. Let's shift from the problem to the solution, all right? And let's make the solution together and make it work. We have a framework now to work within, resources to support the work, but we are not doing anything that someone else is doing. That's our rule, right? If someone else is doing it, support them, don't recreate it, right? We don't have enough time. Plus, they're smarter than us. So let's connect the dots and move as fast as we can. So I'm happy to answer all your questions, any of your questions. There's a lot going on. I'm like so blown away, honestly, by how many people are engaged here now. And it's happened in a relatively short period of time. And there's awesome speakers here, awesome people who are going to be sharing their thoughts. I looked at the attendees are as impressive or more so than the speakers. That says something. You know, people are connecting to a really, really important problem we have. I'm going to say one last thing. And you students that were selected, you know, from 550 or so applications when schools weren't even in session, you know, I think it was early August or something, and your passion for just fixing this and moving forward and understanding how critical all this is as part of your lives, our lives. This is awesome, right? And you have a big role now. I'm also impressed with the fact that there's 400 other kids from New York showing up for this. You know, it wasn't like we did an ad campaign or something. It's just a word went out virally, and here are 400 kids like that. That multiplies very fast. We all know about the network effect, Francis, you better than most, of technology. Let's use the network effect of human beings. We all have networks, we all have friends, we all have schools we're at, or companies we work for, or places we are. We can move this very, very quickly. And let's just do it instead of being stuck, right? Instead of being stuck, we need to know the problems, we need to face reality clearly, we need to know the problems in order to fix the problems. I get it, but let's fix the problems and not recycle on the problem and live in that space, because it's not healthy. all right?